Burrito here. LuchMob is off hunting Sam Squatch again. Let's check in with him, shall we?
Wintertime Luch coming at you here, and we're traveling down the depths of Bangladesh looking for the abominable snowman. Maybe we can find that Yeti. Stick with us, people. We'll keep looking for him. Luch out!
Thanks, Luch. Anyways, he'll be back next week. Anyways, we did the Rhino a couple weeks ago and got that together, and I was really curious about the Tao Tao F1 125. I almost got one, and I actually found one, I believe it was on OfferUp or Let It Go, and I got it for a real smoking deal, and I thought, wow. And it's, you see it's blue again as well. So I get it home, put some gas in it, go riding it, check it all out, and the gas tank was leaking. So ended up getting a gas tank, and we're going to go ahead and change that gas tank out and see exactly what all it entails. So let's get on with it, shall we? All right, guys. So what we got is the tank here. Obviously, we're going to go ahead and set that aside for now. And then we're going to get the seat off, which has already been pulled. Get that out of the way as well, too, here. And thank God, I got a good stand over here. LuchMob isn't around right at this moment, so got a good stand. Anyways, so what you're going to have is a total of 16 Allen bolts with 10 millimeter nuts. The tools that you're going to need to do this is going to be a 13 millimeter wrench, a 10 millimeter wrench, a ratchet, and also a 10 millimeter socket. I'm going to speed up the process as well by using a cordless to go ahead and loosen up most of the bolts and get everything loose and get all this process done. Now what you have is you've got a total of 6 Allen bolts from here, 4 here, and 1 on the inside, and then 1 underneath, and that's on both sides. And then you have a 10 millimeter bolt right here that you loosen up, and then you loosen this up with a 10 millimeter and 10 millimeter wrench and a 13 millimeter wrench, and you'll be able to flip this rack up. You also have to remove the handlebars. How you doing, Luch? You also have to remove the handlebars as well so you can lift this unit up to get to the tank. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to speed up the process and get her done. So let's get on with this, shall we? Okay guys, now that we got everything loose,
stick with me, people, and you'll be fighting through silk.
Hopefully I do have everything loose that I'm supposed to have. This is the first time I've done it. I've done the obvious. So let's go ahead and see what it does, shall we? We're going to get the rack out of the way first, which is pretty easy. Go ahead and move that out of the way. And so now that it's clear, the bars, we still got all the throttle assembly and stuff like that, which is going to be kind of a pain in the butt. But what we're going to try and do is lean this forward and see if we can actually get it loose here. Now there is some clips on the inside when it comes to the fender. So what I got to do is see what else is in there that's loose. And it seems that we have a couple more screws.
Brah, kada, brah.
So I got a couple more screws left. There's a few screws on the back here that would make it completely easier to lift it up, but their frame is in the way to being able to get them loose. So what I'm going to try and do is go ahead and pull her up and see if I can get access to the tank like that. So let's try this again, shall we? Let's see, actually this plastic might benefit. being able to do this here, kind of like a hood. There we go. Let's see if I can actually get to the tank there. Ooh, that's going to be a tight one. But I think I can do it. So, let's go ahead and get the camera spun around here so you guys can take a look underneath. The way I'm going to get it out here is first thing you have to do is, here we go, we got my gear light, flashlight here. First thing you have to do is you're going to have to pull the fuel line loose right here and then cap it, of course, in case there's any fuel inside there. Anyways, what I'm going to do is there's a 10 millimeter bolt right here with a 13 millimeter nut underneath, a 10 millimeter bolt in the back with a 13 millimeter bolt underneath. That's all that's holding it there. So, and there's the rubber grommet in between as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get those loosened up. I'm going to get the fuel line popped. And then what I'm going to actually do is pull this up here. And I believe there's going to be enough room to pull it out. Because the issue here is over in the back, you would have to actually pull all the plastic off just to get it off there. Because those two bolts are right behind the frame and you can't get those loose. And that would separate it right at the initial part that's clipped in here. You're going to have to work it a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead and get back on that and get
Loosened up.
Okay, so now that we got the nut, the 13 millimeter nut from underneath here, which is really a little bit of work. I don't know if you guys can see that or not. It's kind of a bad angle. Anyways, there's a 10 millimeter nut that's on top of the bushing there. We've got that one loose. So we're going to go to the back of the tank and get that one loose as well. And then we'll get back to the fuel line.
I think we'll go ahead and lower this hood down again. Hood. He said hood.
As you can see, we now have the tank loose. I did have to lower the plastic again to loosen up the back. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and pull the fuel line right here and cap it off. And then we'll go ahead and try and squeeze the tank out. Before I want to pull this gas line, I want to make sure and I want to have something to cap it with. So I have the original cap that was on the other tank that I got. So I'm going to use that and put that on there so no gas spills out.
Okay, now that we got the fuel line really loose, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and slip this cap on. We'll see how much fuel we spill on the floor here, all right?
Now for the moment of truth. We're going to go ahead and see if we can slip it out through this area here and slip in the new one. All right? So, wish us luck. Come on, baby. Come on. Almost there. There you go. There you go. Okay. All right. So we got this one out. Thank God. We got the rubber grommet. Let's see here. All right, people. We got our new fuel tank right here. Brand new. We're going to have to get it in the same way we got it out. So what we're going to do is pull up the plastic again and stuff it in there. Hopefully we get everything lined up the way it was before and we don't have any issues. And we'll see where that goes from here. So let's go ahead and try and get this in, shall we? It's actually not too bad. Come on, baby. There you go. Almost there. There you go. All right. So we got it in where it's supposed to be. What we're going to need to do is get the grommets in and make sure everything's balanced up all right. So let me show you guys. We got it in here. It mounts up on the top here. And then it sits on a grommet as well, where it's actually raised up a little bit. Let me see here. It's kind of hard to do one-handed. Luch, where are you?
It's a puma!
So now what we got to do is we got to take this rubber grommet and we got to put it in the front with this bolt right here over in this spot over here. I don't think you guys can see it. I'll go ahead and do a video over the top once I get the tank tightened down. And it's a little area here where the grommet is a little bit shaped to one direction. So when I do tighten it down, it's going to even it up and everything like that. I've already done the backside, which I'll show you guys as well. So I'm going to get this lined up as best that I can. Hopefully you guys can somewhat see what I'm doing. You got to kind of line up the bolt and then set it down on the grommet there and then set it into the hole. There we go. All right. So we got that in. And we're going to take our 13mm nut and tighten, yes, this nut, not that nut, but this nut. And we're going to put it underneath, and we're just going to get it snugged up for a minute and then get our fuel line, etc., hooked up, all right? So let's go ahead and do this. Actually, probably have to do it from the other side. Okay, and then we'll end up using the ratchet like we did the last time to tighten it up and everything, but let's go ahead and get the fuel line hooked up. Okay, the fuel line is right here. All we're going to do is get it right in there and then go ahead and shove it up. Okay, now that we've got our fuel line in and where it's supposed to be, we're going to go ahead and run the clip up and clip it up and then snug everything up and see what goes on from there. What we need to do is get the bolts tightened down. We'll get those tightened down right now. Actually, we got to bring everything back down, get everything buttoned up, then fill it up with some gas and see where we're at. So we need our 10mm wrench for this side and our 13mm socket with an extension. So we'll grab our 13mm socket, 10mm wrench, and we're going to have to tighten it up from this side because it's a little bit easier. But you guys will get the gist of it. That was fun. I'm going to leave it with a little bit of play. You don't want to tighten that rubber down too much and bend a seam or anything like that. And I think that's what the issue was on the other tank. So the other one we're going to switch around to a 10mm socket on an extension and a 13mm wrench, and that's the one on the back. Actually, what I got to do is go ahead and drop this real quick. So I'm going to have to show you guys before I do tighten that up. So let me pause this and grab the camera. So the bolt is right there in that area where the end of the tank is, and it reaches up underneath, which is the 13mm nut, and the 10mm bolt on top. So we're going to go over to the top here, and I'm going to point out what I'm talking about. There's the 10mm. You got to tighten that up with an extension from the top, or with the wrench from the top, and then the extension from the bottom. And then on this side here, okay, right there's the 10mm bolt with a 13mm socket. You could tighten that down with an extension and a wrench underneath. Now what you want to do is you don't want to tighten those up way too much. There are lock nuts on there, and they're nylock nuts, so you don't need to worry about torquing them down because you don't want to torque that rubber where it's all nasty. You want to keep a little bit of play on that, okay? So we'll go ahead and get that tightened down, and then we'll get some buttoning up done and get right back on this. Now that we got the tank tightened up in the front, we got the fuel line on, there's no longer any reason to have this up. So we're going to go ahead and lower the hood, so to speak, and get it down here and set it down. And then that way there we can get the back tightened up. And what I'm going to use on that is I'm going to use a 13mm wrench and an extension on there with the adjustment at like 5, which has got a 10mm socket on this one. So we're going to get that, go ahead and get that down in there. And then we're going to use our 13 millimeter. We're going to go ahead and tighten that up. Okay, so we got that tightened up. Let's see how snug it is. Okay, I like how snug it is. It's good to go. So now that we got it snugged up, what we're going to do is we're going to get everything together. I should put some fuel in it, but the whole thing is I know the tank doesn't leak. So if there's going to be any fuel leak anymore, it's not going to be from the tank. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and get this all back together and tighten it all up, and then we'll get some fuel in it after that and go from there. So I'm going to put the camera back over here. We're going to put you guys on a fast forward again and rock on. The wife just showed up and she went and got some lunch. And this is the one cool thing about California. So Bubsification and One Wheel E, when and if you guys do come out here, check this out. This is what we call a double cheeseburger with grilled onions and pickles. Okay? That is very good quality food. That is LuchMob edibles. And then also, to top that off too, we got what we like to call animal fries. Okay? That's got grilled onions, pickles, and Thousand Island dressing. Well, the special sauce from In-N-Out. So, I'm going to go ahead and eat this, and then I'll get back to putting this together. Good stuff. Big shout out to One Wheel E, Bubsification, Fan 1701, Xena, and Link. You rock! Gotta get my burger on. Burger on. Whoa. Alright, people. Now that I finished up that killer grub, which definitely, boys, when you come out, you gotta have some. We're gonna rock it, for sure. Gonna show you the hidden menu from In-N-Out. So anyways, Dart Squad. Anyways, guys, let's go ahead and get this together. We're gonna put this on fast pace, get it all together, and go from there. Guys, now that we got everything snugged up and tightened up, okay, so let's go ahead and get some fuel in and see if we get any initial leaks from there. So, got some super unleaded, of course. Get that on in the tank. So, oh yeah, we got plenty in there. I can see it, and it's a good puddle all the way across. So we'll set this down. I don't feel any moisture around the tank at all in the area that I did feel it before. So let's go ahead and get it started real quick. See, make sure the lights work, because I did unplug those. LuchMob. So cool. Lights ain't really bright on that, but we're going to put some lights on this sooner or later. You know, so far we don't have any leaks. Let me check on the other side, make sure the fuel line's good to go as well. Let's see here. Not a lick at the fuel line, which we're plenty good to go. Yeah, that's good to go. So, it's definitely not leaking in the area that it was. So, we're going to have to go ahead and ride it to make sure. And unfortunately today it's been raining outside and it's really wet. So, you guys are going to have to wait and see another video on that one. But let's go ahead and get this thing buttoned up. All right, guys, another thing I wanted to do too is I wanted to show the two next to each other. You got the Rhino 250 here, which is a full-size ATV from Tao Tao. And then you also got the Tao Tao F1 125 full-size ATV. Now, this one is big, but that one is a little bit bigger. Its tire size is a little bit bigger. It's a little bit beefier. You know, it's a 250 as opposed to a 125. But overall, they're pretty big. So what I'm going to do is as soon as I get on it, you guys will see them side by side. And you can go ahead and compare it yourselves, all right? All right, guys, so there you have it. We swapped out the tank on the bike. Success. No more leaks, no more issues. We're going to have to take it out on a ride and make sure, you know, run it up and down the street, put it through everything. But I want to go over the bike from front to back and make sure everything's tight and make sure everything's snugged up. Because, like I said, you know, this didn't come out of the crate and we didn't put it together, so I want to make sure everything's good to go before I get myself tooling down the street on it. So, anyways, it's a pretty cool bike, and you see the size comparison to the Rhino 250. This is a 125. It's semi-automatic, 3-speed centrifugal clutch with reverse. You know, it's pretty cool. For the bang for the buck, I can't complain at all. You know, I really like it. I think it's cool. I love the 250 Rhino. I just saw this and couldn't pass it up. The color was just a selling point. So, anyways, guys, thanks for watching. Go ahead and come on back and, you know, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already and hit that thumbs up button. And thanks for watching. Dorito and LuchMob. Rock on.
Does this squirrel mask make my beard look big?